Hey everybody, Brendan here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be covering the Eastern Ontario Open. This is round number 2. This time I am playing with the white pieces, and in my first game I ended up losing it against a National Master, my first time playing a National Master or a titled player in general in tournament chess in this series, so that was a good experience. Again, I had my winning chances. I would recommend checking that video out. But let's get into this game now. I'm playing against UN, I guess. So here, e4, they play the Caro-Kann, and I go for knight c3, which is a variation I've been going for since I started playing chess, pretty much, soon after. Knight f6, and this was a variation that I finally had studied a little bit more. Some of you may know this position from a previous game I had. It was one of my best wins ever. It was against someone who was really strong online, and I had several sacrifices in that game. So we followed the same line: c3, bishop d6, bishop d3, castles, queen c2, rook e8, knight e2, and h5. And I looked at my game a tiny bit with the engine last time, but not a lot. So I was just trying to follow a similar route as to how I played the first time. So bishop e3, knight d7, castles long, and here knight f8, rook he1. I decided to go with this move again. I know it wasn't the most accurate move. I remember seeing something about king b1 or h3 being better, but I remember them not having amazing results for white. So I ended up going with my plan of rook he1, seeing if I can get the same type of position again. Bishop e6, and here king b1. I need to defend my pawn here. Actually, c4 was just better. I should have gone for c4 in this position, which I didn't do here. But that was kind of just my fault. So king b1, yeah, b5, and h3. So I had this position before where I played knight f4, and knight f4 isn't really that great here because of bishop g4. This is something that was covered in the last time I played in this position in the last game. So yeah, my improvement here was h3 with the idea of knight f4. But it's actually not so great. Instead, I should have probably played knight g3, where g6 is only move, knight e4, and surprisingly f5 is best, giving up the dark square bishop in a position like this where the dark squares could potentially be weak. It looks a little scary, but practically black is actually okay here. And it's about equal, even a very, very slight edge for black, actually. So h3, a5, knight f4 is actually just a mistake because they get a lot of initiative now. Bishop takes f4, bishop takes f4, queen d5, b3, a4. b4 was my idea, where they don't really have an entry on this side, luckily. Queen to d8 was played, which is actually just a huge mistake as well. They should have just taken the pawn. Where after rook g1, they can go back to d5 here. And bishop h6 doesn't work out. It looks really tempting. G6 isn't really the best idea here because we can start taking everything here. So yeah, g6 is not a good choice. But knight g6 is actually totally fine. And this is kind of like the only move. But it's a cool idea. So after takes, rook takes, there's bishop f5. And after rook takes g7, there's king h8. And all of a sudden the checks run out. It looks like the king was like being attacked mercilessly, but we're just losing our queen. And we lose the game. So that was a good chance for them, taking that g2 pawn. But they didn't. They went queen d8. I went rook g1, going for g4 now. Bishop d5, and I was thinking of g4. I didn't know what to make of the position after some sort of h4 and then like some sort of knight e6. So I ended up playing f3, which I thought was interesting. The idea was now if I go for some sort of g4 and they go h4, I can bring my queen over to f2 and start attacking the h pawn. And I think that's reasonable, but again, in these positions, I'm actually still just worse because of how the structure has turned out. Rook a7, g4 now, and they actually decide to go for the f3 pawn, which is still fine for them. They're still better, but it feels incorrect because it does kind of open lines against their king. So they took on g4, and queen d5 here, which was a good choice. Rook g3, trying to take over the h-file now, potentially. But I'm just not in time, unfortunately, actually. In the game, what happened was bishop e4, queen h2, bishop takes d3, rook takes d3, and queen e4, which was a really nice move, going to h7 to block anything on the h-file. And if we trade queens here, I have the worst structure, and they're actually up material here, so that would be losing. Queen h3, queen h7, and I decided to go queen f3 to keep the pieces on. They played rook a e7. I played bishop to d2 here, and actually black to move and win. I completely missed this move during the game. So this was a pretty cool one. The move rook e3 is actually completely winning for black. And I remember talking with my opponent after, and I celebrated the move. Like, it was just really impressive. I was really impressed by this move because it's, you know, there's a lot of pieces covering that square, but actually nothing can really take on that square. The rook can't take, the bishop can't take, and the queen can't take. And he said, like, it was obvious and I should have seen it, whatever that means. But yeah, I thought it was really impressive. I ended up taking with the bishop. I realized I was lost at this point. Played bishop takes e3, queen takes d3, king c1, and queen takes e3, and I ended up resigning here because there's just no hope. We're going to trade queens, and they're just going to be up a knight and a bunch of pawns as well. So there's not really any hope for me in this game. But yeah, it was really interesting. I think the biggest improvement I could have made was actually more so in the opening. A lot of lines castle short here. When you look at like how white normally plays, it's castle short, and then you see a move like h4 played. Generally, I'm not really as interested in playing this, but turns out there's actually this really funky move, bishop f4. That's actually quite good. That I want to consider adding into my repertoire. And the whole idea here is rook takes e2 looks promising, but after queen takes e2 and bishop takes f4, there's this really key move, queen e4, which attacks the bishop and also threatens potential mates here. Also rook e1. So there's a ton of initiative for getting the two pieces for the rook. So it doesn't really actually work out for black here. So that's just something to point out, which is quite interesting. But yeah, unfortunately, this one didn't work out so great for me. I was pretty happy with these castles long lines because it was like, it was still popular. It was just a little bit less popular than castling short, and it just looked promising. Simple as that. But this game kind of felt like the steam ran out because king b1, for example, feels natural. And c4 isn't really the most comfortable move to play when you see moves like b5 in the air. This looks kind of scary. But yeah, it turns out white is fine here. So this is still playable. It's just I needed to know things like this, getting into this position again. And this could have actually happened to me the last time I had played into these variations. So that's going to cover it for this game. I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe even learned something from these variations in the Caro-Kann with this knight f6, which is a very good weapon against e4. And that's it. So I will see you in the next game, game number 3. I'm currently on a -2 score now, starting the tournament with 0-2. Kind of sucks. It sucks castling, as you'd call it, because 0 and then 0 castling. Sucks castling at the start of a tournament, but let's hope for the best moving forward, right? All right, anyways, see you guys later. Bye-bye.